because if I were to advise the united opposition, then the reality is that their ticket has to have a mixture of experience and youth energy. That would be the formidable ticket for them to have. And that ticket would most likely be either a KALONZO. Actually, it's definitely a KALONZO SIFUNA ticket, with SIFUNA deputizing KALONZO. But that would be my advice to them, and that would essentially lead to another candidate called Matiangi.
Okay.
Who will splinter out. And that's why I'm looking at...
He will splinter out?
He will splinter out and become a candidate on his own. Immediately that ticket
Why?
is given. Because of the reality that I've just told you, Jagero, that most of these people here are pushing very personal interests. And when I look at that room, I look at it this way. First of all, you look at the composition of the people. There's Rigathi Gachagua, there's Muturi, there's Eugene Wamalwa.
But Odhiambo did not even consider.
There is Matiangi. The reality is that, first of all, 3 of these people are colleagues.
Yeah.
And that is JB Muturi, it's JB, KALONZO, and Eugene. Those are colleagues.
What does that mean?
These are people who have served in the political spectrum at the same time for a long time. So they know each other very well and they're comfortable with each other.
Okay.
They can talk about a story of 1997 and they all understand this story. They remember how they bolted out of NAC and all these stories. So these are colleagues. So the first thing that will happen is that because they are 3 against 5 and they are colleagues, they are more likely going to pick, in terms of consensus and democracy in the room, they will pick their colleague. The colleague they are more likely to pick here is the one who is the oldest among them.
Okay.
That will definitely be Kalonzo Musyoka. After they pick this candidate, who is Kalonzo Musyoka, as their vote, he will need then to have endorsement from one of the ones who were not colleagues. This endorsement will come automatically from Rigathi Gachagua. Why would Rigathi endorse Kalonzo? Because he believes that he's not dangerous. He believes that he can actually run government when this one is in charge. And that is how Kalonzo would be an automatic presidential candidate in that room. Now, when it comes to who then becomes the deputy in this room, remember, I've already told you that 3 of those people are already colleagues. Okay? And when you put SIFUNA inside that room, the temperature with which you look at him outside here becomes very different when he gets into the room. When he gets into the room, he becomes the youngest. He becomes a political novice. He becomes a first-time senator. He becomes just a young man who should be taught politics inside that room.
Okay.
So when inside that room, these colleagues again are going to pick one of their own to deputize. Remember, this time you need the colleagues and Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua will have believed, first of all, that once you have Kalonzo and him, you have won the presidency. That is what his mind would be telling him. And so he'll be believing that the deputy position, president position, is a gift that they should give anyone. So this gift will be accorded to any of these 3. It can even go to Eugene Wamalwa. Because that is the thinking of that boardroom. They would gift another colleague of theirs and say, yeah, you can jump with it. And Rigathi would be more comfortable again with this one because he wants people that he can actually control. Remember, talking about Rigathi Gachagua and JB Muturi here. Both of them want a ticket that they can be able to push to a corner and they can do things their way. They want people they can constantly keep telling, we gave you this seat. Not a person who can come with the confidence of
even after the fact.
Yes. Not a person who wants to come to the table with some facts like they deserved it. And that is their biggest problem with both Matiangi and SIFUNA. Because part of Matiangi, remember, he still wallows in this miasma of the imaginations of those things that happened during the Gen Z crisis. And the young people are saying, we want Matiangi. So part of him believes that he's actually qualified for it. Part of him believes that he's actually he is actually the one who should be. And we have Kenyans who have kept saying that he's a fixer. He has been able to do things in the past. So when you give him a position, these guys are scared they will not be able to control him. Because he'll be able to tell them, it is Kenyans who actually put me here. It is Kenyans who actually pushed me here. So what are you telling me? Same to SIFUNA. SIFUNA, when he's put in a position, he'll tell them, Kenyans sang Mimi ndio SIFUNA. So these old guards here will not really want that type of person. They want a ticket that they can control. And that's why I argue that these people will be able to have a ticket that will not have Matiangi and it will not have Sifuna. But because I think Sifuna is slightly more intelligent than that, this is what I think Sifuna will do.
Okay.
I think Sifuna is courting these people and speaking very nicely to all of them so that he can endear himself to their constituencies. And then after this decision is made that will exclude him, he will run for president.
He will bolt again.
He will bolt out and run
so
for president.
So Matiangi is likely to bolt. Sifuna is likely to bolt.
And this is why Sifuna will likely bolt. He will do, he has always said he's a good student of Raila. So he will do what Raila used to call consultative forums. Across
around the country.
He'll move around the country, pretend to be consulting. Then he will bolt out. Because remember, Jagero, that Sifuna has shown you before that he can disagree with the majority. So he will disagree again with this majority again and want to play populist once more and run for president. Why will Sifuna be running for president? Sifuna will be running for president with 2032 in mind. Not for 2027. So that by 2032, he'll have become a formidable presidential candidate. And he'll also have gotten some guys who can put money on his candidature. And by 2032, I argue that he'll be a very, very serious presidential candidate. Matiangi will also bolt out because there is a group of professionals who are busy telling him today that he's the best thing that happened to this country after sliced bread. And so those people will enter into his mind. And he'll believe these narratives. And when you add on the imagination that there will be money because of Jubilee and President Uhuru Kenyatta, these factors will push him to also want to run to the end. One of the motivating reasons why he'll want to run to the end, again for Matiangi, will be two reasons. 2032 and sustaining himself in this new position that he has gotten called the Kisii Kingpin. The only way he is able to sustain himself as a Kisii Kingpin is if he is presidential candidate. Because when he is presidential candidate, he will amass a good number of members of parliament and MCAs in Nyamira and Kisii. And that will give him bargaining chip. And therefore, I'm telling you, Jagero, that all these people will not mind losing for as long as they can have credibility to negotiate with the government that comes. And that is the biggest weakness of the so-called united opposition. So my long and short is that the united opposition will end up with at least 2 candidates, if not 3.
And that will give us a very interesting thing. That will